So let's get things underway with the first of two second chance heats. It's Junior Rotax up first, and here is your starting grid. Pole position will be Germany's Noah Janssen, and alongside will be Knud Nielsen from Denmark. Dave Stevens in the 292, representing the Netherlands. We'll have Sebastian Koch in the 214, representing Germany alongside on row 2. Mathieu Saumetre from France, and from the United Kingdom, Aras Majauskis will line up on row number 3. Cameron Nelson in the 241 will be joined by the UAE's George Nassar on row number 4 in the 257. Ben Kaminsky in the 202. Sky Parker from the United Kingdom in the 252. And Oscar Gucho in the number 245. After non-starting in the respective heats yesterday, will take to the 11th and final spot on the grid. So the temperatures have already been blisteringly hot for this time of day. And at the moment, we are now at 26 degrees Celsius. It is set to hit highs of 28, not 31 like we had yesterday, but there is a there's a definite difference in terms of the humidity. It's 65% at the moment. People have been hydrating like crazy at the moment, so water is definitely the main hydration source used by everybody here this weekend. But once again, as we had in the Junior Rotax heats yesterday, it will be 7 minutes plus an additional lap. Henry Cameron on YouTube saying, come on, Sky Parker. Kraft is the best on YouTube saying, well, bigging up Kilian Kraft and his team at Kraft Motorsport, as we will see some of their drivers in action a little bit later on. So 11 drivers competing for the final 6 spots in the top 36 that will go into battle in the pre-final at 11:45 local time this morning. This 1,388-metre circuit has seen some of the greats race around this tarmac. The likes of 7-time Formula One World Champion Lewis Hamilton, 4-time Formula One World Champion Sebastian Vettel, Nico Rosberg, the 2016 F1 World Champion, and the late 3-time F1 World Champion Ayrton Senna, Fernando Alonso also being along those names as the drivers make their way over the crest into the tram lines. Red lights on the gantry. Are we ready? Are we steady? For the first time today, we are lights out and racing in the junior second chance heat. Good start by the pole sitter Noah Janssen as Knud Nielsen goes to the outside as well. We've had a little bit of a tussle in the midfield. And a couple of carts, well, one's already off to the left-hand side of the circuit on the approach into turn number 3. And that is the 202 of Ben Kaminsky from Germany. And is in a little bit of discomfort, clutching the right arm. Marshall's on site at the minute, so there will be yellow flags heading through into turn number 2. But Noah Janssen leading the way, Dave Stevens in second, as they make their way through into turn number 11. As Knud Nielsen is going to lose a couple of spots, one of which will be to Cameron Nelson in the 241 from the UK. And, oh, that is not very good there. That looks to be Aras Majauskis, who's in the pit lane already. Loose rear bumper on the left-hand side. And now Dave Stevens, 0.56 behind Noah Janssen, now has the race lead as they head through into turn number 4. Third position is Mathieu Saumetre from France. Fourth, it's Cameron Nelson. Sebastian Koch and Knud Nielsen round out the top 6. Oscar Gucho being chased down by Sky Parker. The young lady from Chalogan in Wales. Had a good catch up with her and her dad this morning. Running with 18 kilos. And she got through in the same gap that Oscar Gucho just got through on Knud Nielsen. Great reflexes from Sky there, but Knud Nielsen manages to retake that position as they go through again across the line very shortly to complete lap number 2, just over 5 minutes plus an additional lap remaining. Stevens still lead. Janssen, Saumetre, Nelson, Sebastian Koch and Oscar Gucho now up into the top 6. Knud Nielsen 7th, Sky Parker in 8th. George Nassar, coached by Matthias Najim this weekend, running with the George Gibbons Motorsport crew. Oh, a little bit of a touch there between I think that was Nielsen and Parker. Nielsen going defensive. Parker sweeps to the inside at turn number 6 and gets through. And so does George Nassar on the braking zone into turn 7. It's under 4.5 minutes to go. And the top 6, well, we've just had a 5-second time penalty. It's not going to really cause any further problems for Anas Majauskis, who gets a 5-second time penalty as judged by race control for pushing. 4 minutes and 11 seconds still to go. Ormetre is catching the top 2. Janssen up the inside of Stevens through turn 1 to retake the race lead, going on to lap number 4. Also, Cameron Nelson and Sebastian Koch are catching them at the minute, so top 5 could be very, very closely packed. Oscar Goodshaw is a little bit further behind. Then it's a bit of a distance back. It looks like George Nassar has got past Sky Parker. That is for 7th position, and there are the 2 drivers from George Gibbons Motorsport and Ultimate R, even though Sky is running under the KR Sport awning. So, again, now things are just closing up a bit as we're past the halfway point in this opening second chance heat out of 2. We'll have the seniors up next. Noah Janssen just says to Dave Stevens, right, let's get away from these guys. Let's have a battle for the race win if you want to. And now Dave Stevens decides otherwise, goes back up the inside on the next lap, retakes the race lead with just over 3 minutes to go. Into turn 2, now into the tight left-hander here at 3 before the left-hand hairpin at 4. And then the short blast up to the 90 left here at turn number 5. And Oscar Goodshaw has now closed on in a little bit more to Sebastian Koch. Now, the thing is, even though they might qualify in the top 6, for those wondering, where do they start in the top 36 for the pre-final? It will be the finishing position of where they finish in the second chance heat. And now we've got a penalty going for Knud Nielsen, 3-second time penalty for braking formation with 2 wheels outside of the tram lines for the Dane running with GKS Lemons Power. Now Cameron Nelson up the inside of Mathis Ormetre to take 3rd position. So a good move there. Sebastian Koch has now lost out to Oscar Goodshaw, who's gotten up into 5th place. That would have been through turn number 1. As Ormetre tries to put the pressure onto Cameron Nelson. As Knud Nielsen still battling away with Sky Parker. That's for 8th on the road. Won't be 8th on the track by the end of it. We still have 9 out of the 11 competitors still running, with just over 1 minute and 35 plus an additional lap still remaining. Drivers now making their way through to the final right-hander, then up the slight incline and then over the slight crest. Across the start-finish line they go. Lap number 6 completed. Dave Stevens still leads, but by just over 1/10.5 ahead of Noah Janssen. Nelson is starting to catch them, but on that particular occasion, it was a 56.823-second lap time from the Brit. Oscar Goodshaw has put in the fastest lap out of anybody. The French driver placed in 5th, 56.381. That was on lap number 5 of the race. And it is still very, very close indeed between 1st, 2nd and 3rd, and also 4th, 5th and 6th position. One wrong mistake now could cost them a potential top 6 place heading through into the pre-finals. After this, we'll have 2 more laps to go as we've got 30 seconds on the timer remaining. So over the crest again, through the chicane. Dave Stevens now has Noah Janssen to the inside. The German gets through at the opening part of turn number 1 to retake the race lead, going on to the penultimate lap. 36 thousandths was the distance between the pair once their transponders crossed the start-finish line. Cameron Nelson senses an opportunity with just over a lap and a half to go. Could he get into the top 2, maybe even take the win? Noah Janssen pointing forwards and saying, right, okay, let's go. It's a bit of a motivational carry for the youngster from Germany in the 231, running on the Gillard chassis with 3G Racing. So Dave Stevens, Cameron Nelson, Oscar Guccio, Matthew Sumitra and Sebastian Koch round out the top 6. George Nassar in 7th, Sky Parker in 8th. Knud Nielsen down in 9th as we now head on to the final lap of the junior second chance heat. Janssen pulls to the inside very, very quickly indeed to defend, and that allows Nelson and Guccio to close on in on both the German and also the Dutchman in the 2.92 running in second place. Into turn 4. Neither of the top 4 sweep wide. Guccio looks to sweep to the outside heading into turn 5 on Cameron Nelson. But no room available there for the French driver to make it through. Has got countryman Omitra right on the coattails. Into turn 7. Sebastian Koch is now with them, and George Nassar in the meantime has been silently closing in, and he's put in the fastest lap. 56.185 seconds by the driver from the UAE. Is it going to be a drag race to the finish? We're about to find out as they get through the final right-hander across over the crest, down towards the checkered flag, which is now going to wave. It is Noah Janssen that picks up the victory in the junior second chance heat by just over 1/10 of a second. Tay Stevens takes second, Cameron Nelson third, Oscar Guccio, Mathieu Soumetre and Sebastian Koch are provisionally your top 6 going through to the top 36 and joining the remaining 30 drivers that have already made it through after the ranking after heats yesterday. George Nassar 7th, Knud Nielsen finishes in 8th, but that will be adjusted due to the 3-second time penalty. And that will bump him down behind Sky Parker, who will finish 8th, Knud Nielsen in 9th. Ben Kaminski out and Aras Majauskis out after the opening lap incident at turn number 2.